Hello, it's Mark Linear with your video thought for the day. All right, have you ever found yourself lying awake at night? Your mind's racing, you're worried. It might be about your family, it might be about your work, it might be about school, it might be about health, could be about finances, but you just find your heart is pounding. And you can't really concentrate on anything else. You've just got this dread or this anxiety that seems to haunt you. Well, I think everybody goes through times of worry. And this is where some of those practical scriptures really come in handy. I'll tell you one of my favorites. It's one that I committed to memory way back in high school. Actually, it may have even been middle school. Paul wrote it in a letter to the church at Philippi. And in chapter 4, verses 6 and 7, he says, "Don't be worried in things, but by prayer with supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God that passes all understanding will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." I really like this passage. It's been a great source of not just solace, but inspiration to me. I mean, look at the three things that Paul says here real quick. First of all, he doesn't simply say, stop worrying. That's not really the most effective advice. You can't. If you could just throw the switch, you wouldn't need this video thought for the day, and Paul wouldn't have needed to write anything. But instead, he gives you something to do in the midst of worry. He says, take your worry and bring it to God. That's a positive thing to do. When you're worried, take your worry and bring it to God. That's what prayer is. But then look at the second thing he says. When you pray, you should pray with thanksgiving. This is an attitude of, all right, it's funny, but an attitude of gratitude. It's not simply a platitude. It's the real deal. A heart of thanksgiving, and just making your mind think through the good things that God's given you will actually affect your worry. And that brings me to the third thing Paul says. He doesn't say your worries will disappear. He says you'll find the peace of God in the midst of whatever crisis you're going through or whatever it is that's bothering you. That will not take away the crisis, but it sure will turn the worry around. So here's an application for you. If you've got something that's worrying you, or you will tomorrow, then I would suggest you just try this. Write it down. And then write 3 things that you're thankful for. And after you've written down what you're worried about and the 3 things you're thankful for, take the time to pray about these things. Turn what you wrote into a prayer. And I think what you'll find is exactly what Paul says, that God's peace will come to you in the midst of your troubles. You will find God in the midst of whatever it is that's plaguing you. It's the way to handle your worry. And it's why I've made this your video thought for today.